For today's demonstration, I would like to work directly on this canvas board because I think it appears a little bit more visibly for you on the video. So we have these slabs. Remember, when you're making a slab, there are a number of ways to do it. You can put it in the palm of your hand like this and drop it down onto the board. That works. But if you give that clay a little bit of direction by bringing your arm across the front of your body, the slab wants to hit, stick, and continue on. The inertia causes the clay to stretch. If it stretches too much in one direction, turn it 90 degrees and stretch it in the other direction. We'll do this with both slabs. Now you know that this will get you to a point where your clay is relatively uniformly thick. But already I can see that it's a little bit thicker on one side than the other. So this is where the rolling technique comes in, where you bring little bits of wood, anything that you may have lying around at home. In the classroom we have this leftover strapping. Strapping is just scrap wood from a lumber yard, and the people at Home Depot are always more than happy to let me take it. So we'll use a couple of heights to begin, and I'll roll my clay down this way. This technique will ensure that your clay will be uniformly thick and no thinner than the height of the sticks. I'm going to roll this down to the height of one stick. So I'll take two out of the way. I will continue to do this. And because of that squeaking, I'm going to do this off camera. Now, as we're waiting for our slabs to stiffen up slightly, I would like to tell you that working with slabs is the second hand building technique that we're going to explore in this course. Slab construction allows you to be very precise if you want to be. It allows you to build with fairly regular and fairly strict measurements, and to get something that is very angular and geometric, if that's the look you're going for. This teapot is very angular and geometrical, or geometric. So here's what you could do with some slab construction. See, the lid is all slabs. The pot inside is all slab construction. And in fact, the spout, even though it's not rectangular, it has a very geometric look and a geometric handle here. Okay, so this is one approach. Some people like working with straight edges and precise corners. If that's you, I'll show you how to do that in this video. These are little post-it note stands. They're architectural in that they're very regular, very square, and made from very thin and very straight slabs. Working with slabs this way is only one possibility. Now, if you are a precise builder and building things that are regular and geometric appeal to you, then might as well make them very regular and very geometric. How might you go about doing that? Well, since you're working with a slab can be considered two-dimensional the same way a piece of paper can be considered two-dimensional. In that case, you can work with paper templates. Paper templates allow you to pre-plan the size and fit of the clay slabs that you want to assemble. So for this simple form, relatively simple form, the templates were cut like this. This gives you some indication to see the template beside the form, gives you some indication of how much clay shrinks. So this would be the side panel for that. This would be the side panel for this. This would be the floor for that, and so on. Now, for example, if you wanted to make a form that looks like this, and you pre-planned by making templates to cut from your slabs, you might be able to see that you would need one of those, you'll need two of these, and you'll need two of those. These ones are necessarily narrower because they'll fit in beside the flat piece here. If you choose to take the teapot project as a geometric design, if you want to make something that has straight edges and corners, then I recommend templates. And these are the templates for that teapot. If I want to reproduce that teapot, I take my templates and I lay them out on the clay. I'm treating the clay as if it were paper, and I'm putting paper templates on top of the clay before I actually cut those shapes. Because I might want to make more than one of these, I've labeled these 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5, 5 of 5. I've now cut through the shape of each of the templates, and I have those pieces of clay that I can now work with. I can remove all of the extra stuff. I might need that for a spout or for the handle, and it's already pre-rolled to the thickness that I would like. So I'm going to take these and just move them to the side. Now we're ready to assemble our pieces. We can stand one piece up on another piece and work some clay into the base of the wall. The next steps will show you how to do that. Here we have a slab standing vertically on a flat surface. When we stand it up, we have a corner. We can reinforce that corner by pressing the clay together at the top and at the bottom. We can also ensure that our edges are straight as we're joining them in this early stage. They're strong enough already to stand up on their own. Now, we can flatten the piece on the tabletop, press a little bit of clay into the corner. Down here at the corner, you'll see that we blend the clay in on the inside. No one sees the inside of your teapot, so you can build that corner up as much as you want. The bead is important, and there are a couple of ways of achieving it. You can extrude clay. Extruding clay is a process that we can do in the classroom. We have small tools that fit into our hands, like plungers or syringes. I like to call it the Play-Doh principle. The Play-Doh principle is exactly the same as when you were a child. When you played with Play-Doh, often there was a tool that would extrude or push clay out through different shapes. I can think of circles and squares and triangles. Well, a hand extruder is about the same thing. It's metal, it fits in your hand, it has a plunger that goes through a cylinder or a barrel. At the bottom of the barrel, there's a nut that gets twisted on to ensure that it stays on when clay is pressed against it. Little screens can go in the bottom, and the screens have different shapes. This extrusion that I'm working with here is a long, thin coil. Of course, I can use different screens to achieve different shapes. You'll see these in a different video. Right now, I'm trimming the corner of this double wall to ensure that the fit is going to be what I want it to look like. This part takes longer to do, but your patience and your care is rewarded because these forms are very strong and they are functional as well as attractive. But right now we're going to join the end onto this pot. The end is more squarish, not a perfect square, but more squarish. And I want to score with this piece of flashing the edges that will come into contact with the top of each of these walls. So a little bit of additional slip on the surfaces that I want to join together, and slip on the underside
of that squarish piece that will form the end wall. I can be generous with my slip at this point because if any squirts out the side, I can just use my finger or a brush to remove the excess. The slip on the end piece goes along here like this. Don't worry about that other slip. It's not going to dry anytime soon. This is the end piece on top of the short wall. You can see as I turn it over, it's becoming more of a box. Now I want to do as much as I can inside that box before I close it up. I mentioned before that it doesn't matter how much clay is inside the teapot because nobody sees the inside of your teapot. So build it up if you want to. Use the opportunity to press clay in there to make it as strong as possible. And then patiently and carefully work that seam together. This is how the whole form works together. This is a skewer that I'm using to score the clay now, the same skewer that you have in your kit at home. It's not a fancy tool, but it does the job. Now, for the sake of the demonstration, and for the sake of trying to keep this video under 15 minutes, I'm going to finish this wall and add the third wall on that open side. That's as far as the demonstration will get in under 15 minutes. But you can imagine that with patience and with care, this is going to be a successful build. Always going back and checking my corners, always ensuring that the join is well connected, that the edges stay sharp. If it's important to you to keep your planes flat and straight, then keep checking them. As long as the clay's in a pliable and workable state, you can change and rework and reorganize and cut and attach as much as you please. Okay, so as it comes together, you can see that it's a matter of turning it and flipping it and rubbing it and working and reworking. It really doesn't take this long. It seems longer in the video, but that's how you can join the pieces together with skill. There we go. Feeling a little bit more confident that it's going to be the way I want it to look. Now look at the outside. Now I have to spend some time on the outside joining the clay together the way I've joined it on the inside. However, I can use the form itself to support the weight of the clay so that I can press down a little bit on the outside. So this will get attached to the remaining wall, and then I'll work the outside with my finger.
In the end, you should have a box with straight, rigid sides that is well joined on the inside. That side's always tricky, but if you want to build this way, you'll build for strength and attractiveness as well.